Yeah, I'm not used to saying this, but the Eagles have signed a wide receiver. We're going to be talking about that move and the wide receiver room in general because we haven't really talked about it. And we're going to be going into pre draft visits, but one pre draft visit has turned into a second day visit. If you see that, your eyes are wide open to tell you how much interest they have at a player. We're going to talk about that in this video. So let's get straight into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope it's having a fantastic day today. This video is sponsored by BetUS, so go check them out if you guys have not. So we're talking wide receivers. The last thing I thought we'd be even talking about at all, especially the next signing of Terrace Marshall Jr., former second-round pick out of LSU, was drafted by the Carolina Panthers, or across 3 seasons with the Panthers, 24 years old, 64 passes for 767 yards and a touchdown. So this player gets a fresh start in Philadelphia. Howie Rose's been going out, getting some guys that are hungry. I like his size. He could box out DBs, contested catching. He's pretty good at doing that. But he just hasn't been consistent, man. There's really not much to really put into this signing, okay? Why is this a late signing? You lost Paris Campbell. You lost Britton Covey. You know what I mean? If you look at some of the other receivers on the roster, Jahan Dotson, obviously, I've been hearing people have been talking about the Eagles are trying to get rid of Jahan Dotson in the trade. Let me tell you something. If they get rid of Jahan Dotson, your receivers, not saying they're going to struggle, and you have Saquon Barkley in the backfield, so you have to put that into account. But without Jahan Dotson, you can't move your receivers around. And Terrace Marshall Jr. is not going to give the same result as Jahan Dotson on the field. Jahan Dotson only cost you a little over $3 million for the season, for the year. Okay, this is technically the last year of Jahan Dotson's deal, and you got to keep him here. Okay, it's already enough. We're trying to figure out tight end. There's a big hole right there, and let's not affect the wide receiver core right now. You're just getting a depth piece right now with Terrace Marshall Jr. Johnny Wilson's another one where I'm not giving up on him. He's a fifth round pick, dude. I mean, he's had a dropping issue. He had a touchdown this year, maybe 2, but he had a couple of them that were brought back because of penalties, and he had a drop in the Super Bowl. So I think he's very raw right now. Okay, but almost at 6'7", the wingspan that he has. I mean, if they could, because of his size, if they could try to turn somebody into at least somewhat of a good player for some depth at wide receiver, I would love Johnny Wilson to really, exceed our expectations a little bit into something better. Another offseason program under his belt, and he just needs more time. Simple as that. So I actually really like Johnny Wilson a lot. So, your receiver core, they add Terrace Marshall Jr. What does this mean? Nothing. He's going to go into camp, and we're going to see what he could do. This is his 4th team, guys. Okay. Nobody should really be pumping this signing up. I'm not going to, because I'm just being realistic. There's really nothing exciting about it. It's exciting to see what they could turn him into with the opportunity he's going to have in Philadelphia. Sure, but obviously they signed him late for a specific reason. There's always a reason, whether it's injuries, whether it's just hasn't really lived up to what he was supposed to be. There's always these reasons for that. So I'm excited about it, trust me, because it's just going to add more competition to the depth of that room, and the Eagles will bring in more wide receivers. Wonder if they'll draft one in the mid-rounds, and obviously you'll have some undrafted free agents that join this that join this group as well. So this is a camp body to see if he can make it to the active roster, and the Eagles are going to say, hey, you come in, you prove your worth, and see what you could do. I know his blocking is pretty good too, so they might want to use him like they've used Paris Campbell, where Campbell didn't really get a lot of catches, but he was in games, blocking and doing some other things as well. So I don't think he's a replacement for anybody or anything like that, but your depth at receiver is running thin, and adding a guy like this just gives you a little bit more value on the back end at wide receiver and a guy that can really prove his worth to the team. That's really all I'm kind of looking at this signing right now with Terrace Marshall Jr. And let me tell you, like I said for the second time in this video, if anything happens to Jahan Dotson, you just create a big weakness, and now it's going to be much easier for teams to double on Devontae Smith, double on A.J. Brown. And then, because you have another guy that's just a big weakness to your starting. And I hope that's not the case, but, I thought that was really interesting. And I think it's a good signing. I mean, look, you sign a guy that's going to prove his worth. Howie Roseman has been signing guys like Uche and Ojulari, some of these other guys that are trying to prove their worth at 25, 26, 27-year-old players. And this guy is young. This guy's very young, 24 years old. And you know what I mean? If they can keep him for a few years, that'd be great and be productive in some depth. Would be awesome. So, new wide receiver in Philadelphia as of right now, and we'll see how he does. Now, the interesting part about this whole thing, pre-draft visits. Now, we saw that Nick Scorton, okay? Nick Scorton was on a pre-draft visit last night for the Philadelphia Eagles. Not only is he in one pre-draft visit with the Eagles, they're meeting with him twice. Okay, this is a late first rounder to an early second day pick. We know edge rusher is very deep in this draft, and I think he's got all the tools in his toolbox. He has a really good bend on the edge. He has played on the inside as well, so he has some versatility. So Fangio must love him, and let me tell you, he's got some moves. He's got power. His pass rush ability is absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of guys in this draft that maybe the Eagles are looking to see if one of these guys are probably going to fall, or maybe they think that he's going to be there at 32. Because let me tell you something, the Eagles moving up in this draft in the first round from 32 is going to be extremely hard because a lot of teams aren't going to fall for it and let Howie just move up for nothing. Okay, 5 spots, sure, 3, 2 spots, whatever. That's, you could definitely do that. But if you're trying to move up to pick 20 or pick 15, it's going to cost too much, especially pick 20. It's going to cost way too much. And, no team is going to be like, no, sorry, Howie. You guys just won a Super Bowl last year. You think I'm going to let you, we're going to be giving you, you're going to be giving us a lot of draft compensation if you want to move up like 15 spots of this draft. That's definitely not going to happen. So I think they're starting to say to themselves, look, like maybe they're figuring they can't trade up that deep in this draft because it's just going to be impossible to do, giving up way too much assets. So they figured, hey, let's stick at 32, move up 1 to 5, 1 to 4 spots, something like that. But if a Nick Scorton, gets to the second round, they could absolutely get him. Or maybe they trade back where they could pick. If there's a lot of guys still on the board, if the Eagles pick is up and there's like 5, 6 guys on the board they really like, they're going to trade that pick back. And there's going to be a lot of calls for that 32nd pick. The only good thing about that 32nd pick, realistically, is you have a choice between a 5th-year option and that 33rd pick in the second round to just a 4-year deal as a rookie. And the second thing to all that is now you could say, if there's still got a lot of guys left on the board, they could still trade back and pick 2 guys in the second round that probably could have been first-round talents. Take how the draft went last year with Quinyon Mitchell and then Cooper DeJean just sliding to that second round. That's a first-round talent because a lot of offensive players were taken off the board last year. So for an edge rusher that's coming in twice for the Eagles, meeting him last night and now meeting him again, watch a lot of Nick Scorton tape, man. It's absolutely amazing. There's guys out there, you know what I mean? Want to see if, some other guys, the kid from UCLA and then, Izaraku from Boston College. I mean, there are a lot of late first to second day, early second day guys they're looking at right now. They're getting a trench guy. I mean, this is already telling you they're going to have a trench guy between the first and second round. But for me, it doesn't exclude a trade back. I think there's a trade back definitely in the process, depending on how many are actually on the board still remaining. So I thought that was really cool. And when he did visit the other night, he was with Brandon Graham, which was awesome. So nice to see Brandon Graham was in the building when they were meeting up and doing their thing. And, Brandon Graham retired and still around the building, like he still wants to play for some reason. But Nick Scorton was hanging around with him last night, which was great. And they're going to meet up with him today. And it seems promising that they really have a lot of interest there on that defensive line. This is on top of Uche on a 1-year deal that got traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, learning a very hard system in Spags' system with Kansas City, an intricate system that even Spags said it was really hard to learn mid-year. It's hard to learn a new system mid-year. And I think Uche kind of, he only played 6 games, started in 6 games for Kansas City last year, and obviously where, when he was with the Patriots before. So, it's very interesting. And Aziz Ojulari, 6 sacks last year, and he's got some really good statistics for being hurt so much the last 4 years. But let me tell you, another guy 3-4 years. So let me tell you, it's another guy that it's some 2 promising guys right there. But they're going to be free agents after a year, and after this year, and you're going to be back to square one if you don't draft an edge rusher this year. Simple as that. You know what I mean? Nolan Smith's contract is bunkering down a little bit, and Jalix Hunt's career is just starting. So adding another edge rusher, I've been on board with that really since the beginning. On top of a couple glaring holes that we have right now, but obviously there is a plan for all of that. So Scourton to the Philadelphia Eagles potentially could happen. So we'll see. But other than that, guys, let me know what you guys think. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below, because I want to see what you guys think about the wide receiver room. Terrace Marshall Jr., what do you take out of it? The wide receiver room in general, do you think they would actually move Jahan Dotson? And obviously, let me know what you guys think about Nick Scourton as well. Coming to the Philadelphia Eagles, 2 visits realistically. So meeting up with a player twice in 2 days, that's kind of eye-opening in my opinion. Make sure you like the video. Helps out tremendously. And definitely subscribe if you want more Eagles news every single day. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up. Follow us. Peace out, guys. Peace.